Morning, Al.
There she is. Good morning, Eva. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Were you waiting to get in?
I was. I had to try a couple of times to get in.
Interesting, because sometimes this little thing that pops up is that attendees are waiting to get in, and I didn't know. I'm not sure what makes that come up and what doesn't make that one come up. So I'll just keep an
I don't
eye on
know.
that one a little bit. But yeah,
Yeah.
anyway, we were. I thought I logged in correctly, so I don't know something I'm doing over here that's causing that to not just let you guys in automatically at a certain point in time.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, we've got a couple of attendees. We got Jannar and Leslie in, so
Yeah,
I guess it's working okay now.
yeah, good. Well, I'll break the code one of these days. So, well, right now I've got basically it's the U.S. CAD. It had an alert at 4:45. That one pretty much played out, but I'm looking to see where it's going to reverse positions. So I'm kind of in that one right now, but it's not really an alert. So I'm not. I think I may have to. Actually I may get a loss on this one. It depends on which way this thing breaks.
What have you got going on with it?
Well, right now I'm going short with it.
You're
No,
going
excuse me, I'm
short.
going long with it off of this. This had nice big move down. I'm going long right at I've kind of created my own little wedge here at the bottom. And I'm just seeing, right now it's making lower highs and higher lows. So right now it's spooling up to see which way it's going to break. It's been interesting
Yeah,
watching this.
it really got pretty low. US did overnight.
Yeah. I think probably because it already put all the profits in from the Republican National Convention was finished last night.
Uh,
Maybe they had it all priced in.
well, I'm
This
really
thing's starting to
hoping
break.
it turns itself around soon.
Let's see if this thing breaks. Looks like it's trying to.
We can't see your screen though, Al.
Oh, you should see the Hawkeye screen, right?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, we'll get started here in a few minutes. We got 4 attendees right now. Mixing.
Yeah, this thing, I don't
Looks
know
like
how low it's gonna go.
this may have given us a little hit. This may be right about where it's going to be. We'll see.
Oops.
One more minute. I'll start talking to everybody. Well, let's go and get started here. We got a few people in here.
Okay.
And good morning, everybody. It's Friday, August 28th, and we'll get started with our disclaimer. Let me get my recording on before Beaver has to remind me. There we go. All right, and our disclaimer, our annual morning disclaimer: trading forex exchange on margin carries high level of risk and may not be suitable for all investors. The high degree of leverage can work against you as well as for you. Before deciding to invest in foreign exchange, you should carefully consider your investment objective, level of experience, and risk appetite. The possibility exists that you could sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment, and therefore you should not invest money that you cannot afford to lose. You should be aware of the risk associated with the foreign exchange trading and seek advice from an independent financial advisor if you have any doubts. This is a Hawkeye session. This is a live trading room and is for educational purposes only. No financial advice or recommendations will be provided. Any trades taken during this session is not a recommendation or suggestion that you should do the same. Past performance is not indicative of future results. Do not trade money that you cannot afford to lose, and before trading live, always operate with a written trade plan that identifies rules for entries, exits, targets, and risk management. And now that we have that out of the way, let me share my screen. And we have share screen. Let's see, get the right screen up here. Right now, we had an alert at way back here at 4:45 this morning, and that one's pretty much already played out. But what I've done is, since I wasn't awake at 4:45, I just continued with the bigger wedge, which is this orange wedge, and now it's forming. It has a nice strong move down, and now it's forming another secondary wedge, which is making lower highs and higher lows. It just broke out the bottom of this lower candle right here, and it looks like it's going to the short side. And that's where we are right now. This is the B of the bigger wedge from this morning. If it breaks the B, we could be going down much lower. Right now, I'm thinking it's going to be right in this area before we get somewhat of a retracement. And we'll see how this thing plays out. Right now, there's, as far as news this morning, we have a little bit of news at 9:05, which is going to be in about another hour or so. It looks like the Bank of England is going to be speaking. It's going to affect the British pound. And I don't know what the Jackson Hole Symposium is, but that's going to happen at, that's pretty much going on all day. So there may be some, I have no idea what that means. So having said that, like I said, we're still looking at, now what I was looking at with this other little break here is that we had a nice strong move up, came back down. This was the original candle that I was looking at. This was where the nice strong candle move up, came back. It just barely closed the bottom, came up, retested the wedge, and now it's breaking out of the bottom of this. So this one made a little bit lower low, another little bit lower low, but it's still kind of fighting. There's not a lot of movement on this, and I don't think we have a whole lot of pips from here to here. We're only at 3 pips, and coming down to where my B is off my original wedge. This could be an area where we could get that little bounce that we oftentimes look for. This could be the little bit of the head fake. There's the bigger wedge, nice big move down, came back down. It's still making from the original 445 wedge, which is the orange one. It still hasn't broken my B, and it certainly hasn't broken. That's the lower part. That's the lower point of where the wedge was. My D is all the way up here. I can bring this one down a little bit now. What I'm doing is I'm aligning it with the top of the wedge and aligning it with the bottom. And we'll see where this thing goes. If we get it close below the B, we're looking at going much lower. And if I'll show you how I drew this thing, let's see if I can scrunch this up some. Put it on a 5-minute chart.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Matt.
Ah, there it is. I was wondering where it went. I was having some trouble with it.
And you can see this is where the original wedge was at 445. It was a descending wedge. And like I said, it came all the way down here, came up. So I redrew the, normally I don't take it on the other side of the wedge, but since it was so late in the game that I was looking, it's still making lower highs and lower lows. So, and then we had this form this other little secondary wedge on the bottom here, which is where we're at right now. So let me go back to my 1-minute chart, and we'll see where this thing is going. If we get the close below there, we're going to probably be going much lower here.
Wow.
And it did. Now let me see where if we have any possible target areas here. Could be possibly down here. And we get on a higher time frame and see if we can find a spot where this thing may be coming into play. Let's look at a daily range. Right about here is where right here is where the next, this is the body of the blue candle going way up. And so we're going to mark this zone right here. Came down, wicked right into it. Let's go back to our 1 minute chart, see how we're doing on this. This is a zone to be concerned with. This was a wick area of a daily candle. And we'll see if we see how many pips was that so far. From the break to here, that was basically we're just right at our 8 pips. Not wasting any time today, right at 8 o'clock.
Mm.
And you can see it's starting to form a little, could be another little bit of a wedge right down here. You can see there's a strong move down. Now we got 3 candles. We haven't got any moving average crossover, so right now this could just be a small little pullback. I like to see this move and get all the way up here at the top before I would take it short again. We'll see what kind of a pullback we get on it. I would expect it to come up maybe and retest this yellow dotted line here.
Sorry, I missed that. Which yellow line?
It's where the B is.
Oh,
where the
with
B's,
the wedge.
yeah, where the B's are. But right now, this is right here is where the lowest close was. Well, actually, here's where the close was. Here's the lowest close. Here was where the B pivot was. And it came right down to the pivot, stopped, and then just broke out. Nice strong move. In fact, this was pretty much the overnight low. This was pretty much right at 8 o'clock when we started up. 8 o'clock hour, the hourly candle closed at 8:05, and we'll see where how this thing's materializing here. Here's the nice long candle down. This is pretty much where it started, but I'm going to start from here. So this is just this is not a wedge alert. This is just continuing to draw with what the wedge provided here. Here's a high. We'll see where the high goes. I'm going to just mark it there for right now. And here's where the bottom is. We'll see how high this thing gets. Right now it's trading inside this A-B range right here. And the 1 hour close was right here at 8 o'clock. Actually, this is probably more. This is the 8 o'clock. This is the open of the 8 o'clock candle right here. Came right up here. Here's where this is the main break right in this area. This looks like this could be the pivot high for our C mark. There's AC, and we're now looking to find out where the D is going to be. I'm going to take this one off so we don't get too confusing. So here was the main wedge when we first, this was the end of that first wedge. I said this was way into the morning after the alert. Do we have any other alerts coming in so far? No, this was the last one. Kind of slow for a Friday. But you'll see that we had, I said, the orange one is the main, where the main alert came in. A nice big move down, came back, retraced, gave us a higher low, lower high, higher low, lower high, looked at this candle, it broke, just barely broke, based, and then it continued to break, and this with a nice clean break below the B. Right now it's coming up and retesting this area right in here. So right now what I'm going to be doing, I'm going to be removing this, this thing's still going short. So I'm going to take this, my stop zone, I'm going to put it right here below this. Here was the nice move up, came back down, retested this wick, barely closed below. That was the close, that was the wick, the basing. So I'm going to put this stop zone right above, right about here at the red candle, right where the A is. If this thing comes up and goes back into the wedge, this thing could go much higher. And we did find a little bit of a zone here on the daily chart. Right here where the demand zone may be. Remember, we like to see 3 hits on a trend line. And right now, here's our A. We're going to use this as the marking from where the A, this red candle at the very top, we use that for our anchor. Here's our hit. Now we're going to see if we get a 3rd hit somewhere along the way here. If we get the 3rd hit and it keeps on going down, or if it gets the 3rd hit and changes direction here. But right now, you'll see that here's the pivot, here's the highs it came into. So right now, this is going to be the high we're going to be looking at trying to, if it goes long, this is a reference high we're going to be looking at right here. We have a nice, it came back up to almost the 89, came back. Right now it's in between this 40-60 range. And it came right down to where the 8 is just coming up and now it's starting to break up towards the upside. This could be the bottom of this big move and could be going towards the upside. We have the green and yellow moving averages on the 1 minute. I'm looking at that to see if I can get the crossover. Right now the green is not crossed over the yellow yet, but it's getting close. And now it's in a zone that we're looking to see what's going to happen here. Here's a little pivot. Here's the 2nd hit from the B. Now we're going to see if it's going to continue. I'm going to line this up and I'm going to bring my A down a little bit. Again, this is not an alert. This is just how to draw a wedge off of a strong move down. Still looking at this being a zone 2 that would need to be broken right in here. And if we look at our 15-minute RSIs, let's see where they're at. Right now, the Canadian dollar is still strong by 3. Second currency of the pair should be looking to go short. But we also had a nice move down with on the 15 with the touch the 89, or excuse me, touch the 11. And now we're starting to get a little bit of a, here's divergence right here. This is divergence. Here's a trend line. We have a low. We have a lower low. And we have a low with a higher low on the RSI. That's divergence. That's often the time, a signal that things are starting to change direction.
One can only hope.
One can only hope. Yeah, we have our little, this was actually the top, nice big strong move down. Here's where the C was. I just moved this over just to catch that wick. And we're looking to see if we can get a close above the A. And now I'm looking more of a possible reversal here. And we have our 62 on our 5-minute chart is way up here. So this could be, which is right at the top of the major wedge that we had originally. And we wait. Any questions so far?
Well, the U.S. sure has taken a beating this last couple of weeks, I have to say. Kind of semi-normal to see it go back a little bit to its previous strength.
And if we look at on our 5-minute chart, you'll see this is here is where we had I say right here, the strong move candle up, came in, it tested this strong move down. So right now I'd be looking at this area right here on the 5-minute to maybe be challenged. We do have the crossover of the green and the yellow on the 1-minute. Now it's just come up, retested the 62, which is the same as the yellow on the 5. Pretty much that seems to be usually the case. And we'll see, we don't have the crossovers of all the moving average. These are still going in the down direction, but we're starting to get the little strength here. Right now we have a US strong by 4 on the 1-minute, and it's still pulling up. We're going to probably get into this zone up here. So right now we can move this A. We'll move this on up here. Now it's back into the wedge. The original wedge is back into it. Now let's see if what it's going to do from a continuation standpoint. Still looking for that third hit to go along. And right now we're just trying to consolidate. We're trying to determine where the second hit of the AC line is. This could be it right there. We'll see. That's a hit. See if it comes back down, retest, and then if it breaks by where this before the C. I like the fact we have the divergence for going long. And it came right down into a demand zone. And right now it's coming right back into this area where it was fighting before. From the A, we had one up here. Actually, I probably can move this over here if we really wanted to do that. We have A, here's a hit. Still looking for the third hit on the downside here. Got the crossover of the 62, that's a good sign. Here's our break of this wedge, and right at the bottom of the first wedge that came in at 4 o'clock. Right now we don't have these, we're just getting the crossover of the 5 and the 13 of the 62 on the 1 minute chart. We did get the close above, and these things are starting to cross over. The green is now starting to cross over the white. We have to get the yellow one, which is the 13, cross over the 62, and then we should be in pretty good shape to maybe try and get a challenge of this upper wedge here. And we wait. So here's A, here's a B, C hit. Right now it's still good. We have the A, here's the middle hit, here's the C, and now it just broke through the C. And we'll see if it keeps on going. Right now all the moving averages are coming into play over here on the 1 minute. And don't forget we still have the 62 up here on the 5 minute that we're still having to deal with as a possible target. Let me take all these off on the 15 so we can see a little bit better where our price action is on our 15-minute chart. Remember, a lot of times it comes out, these are all still pointing down. We got a little bit of a hook here on the 5 on the 15-minute, but this yellow one is still coming down. So I'd be looking at this, would maybe be looking for a tag on this. Let's see the 513. That's over here. It's right up here in this area. So this is the candle we're kind of looking at right now. I'll take this one off. Take this one off. And see what we have. So it's going to have to get through this area before it's going to. This may just be the retest of the wedge. It's hard to say right now. It's just spacing. Nice move up. If you did get in long down here, you would be looking at, this would be your stop, that's where the D is right now. And we're going to keep moving this one up for, this would be the stop zone. I'll put this one up to the top. And I'll make this being our stop if you're long. Now it's testing this line right here. An anchor, midpoint. This could be the third hit. Still respecting this, the trend line. It came into our stop zone. Came down below this blue candle. Right now has not closed below the blue candle. This one. Came back, retested the wedge. Right now that's our third hit on the wedge. There's our stop zone, still valid. And now we're looking to head on up towards this 15 and 62 area. I'd like to see it close above the C. And that should take us on up a little bit higher, at least to where the A is. So we're looking at these two zones right here. We're looking at this one. And I'm going to make this a entry to buy if you're not already in it. And then this would be a target right up in this area where the and this would be the entry from the top of the main wedge here. Right now it's right in between this little playground right in here. This CD into the point. So right now we have a lower high, we have a higher low, we have a hit here, we have a hit here. So right now, this is a valid wedge. If we get a break on either side of it, that would probably be the direction we'll be going for a little while. It came right up into the bottom of the main wedge at 4 o'clock this morning, 4:45. And this is where the bottom, now this wasn't where the wedge was all the way over here, so it broke way earlier. But this was the move down from that. Came up to the top and then retested the whole bottom. And just kept on trending on down. And now it's making another little decision factor here, where it's going to go. Very, very strong move overnight. Now we're just trying to see where it's going to change direction. Any questions? So right now we have a lower high, we have a higher low, and we're going to see if we can get a higher high off of this C right now. If it does, that means we're starting to get the divergence, or the not the divergence, but the break of the secondary wedge, looking for the break to get up to the top of which is right here where the 62 is.
Alan says it's exciting to see the wedge called before the AI of AIRIS.
Yeah, we'll see if we get a wedge alert if this thing breaks the C, we'll see if we get a wedge alert. Good chance we might. Still respecting this orange wedge, came right up, just tags it. So right now there's a little battle going on right up here. So I want to see a close above this little blue candle right here. I want to see a close above that. Still a little pressure. Let's see, where's the CAD on this? Right now, the CAD and the US are fighting for last place on the 15-minute chart. The CAD had such a strong run down that the US is starting to take control a little bit. And a stronger push on the 1-minute chart. We got a 5-point spread in favor of the dollar. Dollar is first currency of the pair. Looks like it's trying to go strength. If we can get that break above the C and close, I'd like to see a close above there. or at least anticipate the close. Remember, it's coming up here to the 15-minute, 13 moving average on the 15-minute chart. And that's right at 130.64. Remember, we still have to get if we get a break up here, here's be the next target to try and get broken right up in this area. So it can mean which be target 1. And that's right. That's only 4 pips to the 15 and about 30.66 to 6 pips to the next blue line here. We did get the close break. Retesting this wedge. And we'll see if it can keep on going. Right now, all of our moving averages on our 1-minute chart are all in alignment. We're now getting the cross of the 13 and the 62 on the 1 minute. That's a good sign. We have the close above the C. We can move our stop down below this blue range and move this thing up down to here. Coming up to retest the 15-13. We do have this up to at the 89 right now. So if you do try to get this thing long, you should have either been in right at this close or wait for it to pull back at this point. It couldn't close above the A. Right now it's spacing a little bit. Just wicked into the 13 area. Let's see what it looks like on the 15-minute chart. This came right up, based into it. See if we get a pullback. See if it retests the bottom of the wedge, and see if it retests this 15, this area right here. You're getting a candle by candle, blow by blow analysis of this whole move on the CAD this morning. You see how these wedges kind of play with each other, play with the higher time frame and lower time frame wedges. They'll still, we're still looking at this area right here on this 5-minute 62. We can move this down a little. That's coming down now a little bit. It's getting a little bit tighter. Now it's right at where the wedge is to be broken, at the top of this first wedge. So this is where the alert came in, right here at 4:45 this morning. Here was the alert. It was a descending wedge. Maybe draw that for you so you can see the reference that I was looking at. It was descending. You can see this thing was following the yellow all the way down here. So this is the top of it, descending all the way down. This is a nice little trend line right here. If it breaks that trend line, this is really where the top of the trend of the wedge was. Extend this down. And that's right here. This is right here at the where the 62 is. I'm gonna make this orange just so you can see that that was the reference that we were using. I'll make it a little bit thicker here. So now is it going to tag this and come back down, or is it going to tag and break it and head on up to this this one up here? And so this is going to be the 15, 62.
Alan says he's grabbed himself 5 pips on
There you
this.
go. Good job, Alan. Be happy with 5 pips. I'm not sure what size lot size is, but it's a nice little, that's 5 pips is, can be your 2%. I said we try and get 7, but we don't always get the 7, but we should be happy with 5.
And he is.
So right now we're looking to see if it's going to break this one here. This is a 15. Here's the candle. This is the 15-minute candle right here that we need, like to see a close above. And you see there's like no wicks at all the way up until you get to this point right up in here. So if you look at, if it breaks this and closes, it should be fairly clear sailing all the way up until you get to this area right up in here. Let me draw this up. Take it over here, and this would be the target zone for, let's see what I want to make this, here we go. In that area right there. So if we get through the wedge, this would be a pretty strong target. There's a little bit of a wick on this one. We could might get a little bit of a challenge right in this area. It's pretty small. You see right here, there's a drop, this little wick over wick area. Let's see, right to the top of that red wick right there. And this one almost penetrated through, so that's why I don't think this one's going to hold. If it comes up, I think it'll blow right through this one. Come back to our 1-minute chart. Right now, all the moving averages are still in the right direction. We can still follow right now. We can follow this with our zone, with our yellow 13 moving average for the zone from here, and looking for I don't want to see a close below. Let's see, where are we going to go? Probably this, I'll just move this one up just a little bit here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 nice blue candles, little basing. Now we have a real tiny, tiny little wedge right up here. Nice move up. You can see how these wedges just sort of start popping out at you. Here's a nice extended range candle, nice blue candle. Put it to the bottom of that. Come up here to the top, bring it down to the base here, flatten it out the top, and see if it breaks. You can also look and see where you are with this, off this, no, this is, see, our A was actually right here. Here was the top of our A. We got the close above it. If I look at the A, see where the bluest, the candle closest to the A, that the highest candle to that, and see where it got broken over here. This was a candle right here where it got broken. Look for divergence. Right now we have a high. This does have a little bit of a divergence right in this area right here. You have a high, a low, and a low and a high. So we got to be careful with this at this juncture because it had a nice big move up. We don't want to give back all of our profits. And like I said, we're coming right up to where the first initial wedge is. Retesting this area. I'll just take this off just so it doesn't clutter things up too much. Just trying to get a little bit of a hook on the five period moving average. I don't want it may, and I would expect that it could very well come down right to the top of the yellow one and then hook again. If it doesn't cross and close, it could be just a nice little temporary pullback. We'll probably start seeing all three of these consolidating like it did. Where was it over? It never really did much, but right in this area here, it consolidated a little bit. We had the green, the yellow, and the white all in this little spot right here. See where they're all bunched up together. That's usually a good sign that things are starting to change. Right now, they're not bunched up at all. This one's way down here. You can pretty much keep if everything's going to go south on us, it'll probably go south right around, it may tag this, but then if it closes below this 62, we should be out of this trade. Right now, we're still waiting to see what's going to happen up here. So here's the nice little move toucan. This is 2 minutes. So right now it's in a 2-minute zone between here and up here. Then we're looking at, let's see, we're looking at 4 pips. This is a 4-pip zone. This would be basically, if you're looking at this, we have an engulfing candle right here on 1-minute chart. That's pretty tight and just going sideways within less than 4 pips. And inside this, oh, go ahead.
Alan is asking, could we see the RCS? It looks like the US based pair suddenly gained strength, which is now reversing, tracing.
Yeah, here's the, yep, that's exactly right. Right now, this thing flipped over. They were at 1 and 0. Now the US is up to a 4, flipped over. The Canadian stayed a little bit stronger reference to the other 7 pairs. But right now, the dollar is strong all the way across. And we'll see if this thing flips over. But right now, you'll see, just looking to see where our whole moving averages are. On the 15-minute, it's red. We have a 5 and on the 5 we have a red and a green, so that's about a wash. 2 reds and a green. I'd like to see all 3 red to continue the move. I'd like to see all 3 reds with a little pullback with a hook on this RSI. Coming down, testing the yellow. And you see it came right up. Where's our 5-minute chart? Here's where this was the close of the yellow 13. I'm going to take this one off just so we don't get them confused. Had a nice close break, formed a little bit of a wedge on here. Move up, high, lower high, and we'll see what happens if it can break it. Right now it's basing right below the trend line, this upper trend line where the wedge was. It's basing right below, and a lot of times you see a basing right below it. When it breaks up pretty strong. If it does break, let's see where our target would be. The target's going to be up here at the red zone, which is up here. And that's 70 to 80, that's 10, 11 pips. But right now it's not breaking, it hasn't broken yet. We did get the close above the blue candle. This is the next little area right up here. This was a target, and it just, see where this is interesting. If you look right here at the no wicks at all, if let's say I move this one right up here to the top where there's no wicks, it came right up, broke through that. And now we're looking at this one, came right up, tagged it. Now if we can get a close above that, which is where the B is right now, we should be off to the races on this. And then we're looking at, like I said, then we're looking at pretty much this area right up in here. Let's see if we can break the top of this trend line. That's really all that is. That's just the top. It's just it's a trend line of the whole move from 4 o'clock this morning. It's going to take a little bit to break through that, I think. That's a pretty strong area. And don't forget, we have our 5 minute 62 right here. It's just right here. Let's go to our 5 minute, see what time is it right now. 48, another 2 minutes. We'll get a 5 minute candle close. This will probably break before then. A minute long. Put my target. Take my stop. Let's see if we can hit our targets. Check our fib zones. Here's a green fib zone right below the red area. Be looking at 3079. Let's see where it can go. Dollars all the way up to a 7 on the 15, and it's at a 4 and a 6 on the. It has 6 on the 5. So right now the dollar's gotten much stronger, relatively speaking, on the 5. There's only one currency that's stronger than the dollar on the 5 minute chart right now. I'll get into that one a little bit earlier. I'll just close that one out. See if I can get my target in here now. First in, first out with U.S. brokers. You can't take 2 positions and take the second one out first. You have to do it first in, first out. It drives me crazy. So right now it's still basically, here's, now we see if it's still maintaining a nice little trend on this. All of our moving averages, we have a nice little spread on our moving averages. Let me take out, just close out some of this stuff here. You can start seeing some of these things. Nice strong move up. And let's see, here's our blue 52, our blue Fibonacci. Coming up to near our target. There's my 7 pips. 16 on another trade, and I'm out of everything. I'm still waiting for this one to close out. Almost has just fighting right there. Let's just close this one out and get your daily bread. And we're done. It may go higher, but we don't care because we got our daily bread. Any questions? Feel free to raise your hand. If you raise your hand and you want to talk, I'll turn your mic on. We'd love to have hear from everybody.
Yeah, that was a great trade.
And you see, and you'll see where, and that's again, this is another reason why. Let's just do a replay on this a little bit here from the very get-go. Is that we had the alert. Scrunch this up on the 15-minute chart, 4:45 this morning, East Coast time. So that was right there. And it said it was a descending wedge. Now, I'm not really sure what it was looking at as far as the wedge goes, other than the fact that we had the whole move was descending. And what I would be looking at, if I would have drawn it, let's just do a replay. Replay bar, let's go right to here. And so here's the replay, 15-minute chart. We have descending wedge alert right here. And I'm looking to see where's the major move. So this is definitely a descending move from all the way back here at 8 o'clock last night. The alert came in, and we can see we had lower highs, lower lows, lower highs. Right here was about an equal high, and here's about a little bit of a higher. This is a little bit where it started to break. So I'm just going to, so at this point, I'm going to be drawing my wedge descending, start with my A, and it's going to be somewhere around I'm going to put it from here to say back up here. And then I'm going to align my AC line right over here someplace. I have a hit. Here's a hit. I'm looking for that third hit on the trend line, the AC trend line. Now I'm going to make this orange because this is going to be the bigger wedge. Okay, so now we're going to go and we're going to put this on. I'll just put it on a 5-minute chart and see if we can still draw this thing, okay? Going to tweak things up. I'm not going to do it on 1 minute, at least not right now. So here's the trend. And actually, if you look at, here's a anchor, here's a hit, here's a hit. This is really, I would still consider this to be kind of like the middle. I'm still waiting for the third hit on this trend line. Now, if there's something I can find over here to get me that, I'll take a look at it. So I'll pull it up here. Still no near hit. So this is still really the first hit off of that. If I go back a little bit further, see if I can pick one up somewhere. Still can't really pick it up. So, but you do see where you have a little bit of a series over here. So from here, so this is our major trend line right here, which is pretty much where this whole move started. So let's just take this and just make a nice big trend line. This is all for demonstrations here. So take the trend line from A to C. So we really don't have our intermediate hit. So I'm still looking for another hit somewhere over in here. Everybody follow me so far? And I'm just going to align this with that trend line because we don't know where it's going to go. Let's play this thing out here. I don't want to stop the replay. Let's see if I can. Or maybe I lost my replay. No, I don't want to exit the mode. Where is my arrows? Oh, here we go. Yes. So it comes up, blue candles. This thing's still holding. Okay, near break, near break. Okay, so at this point right now, you got the close below the B. Because remember I say that two things. One, before, within a couple of weeks ago, we used to draw parallel trend lines to the bottom and then parallel trend lines to the top. That's still a valid method. What I started doing, which I'm liking a little bit better, especially early on from the alert, I like to see a close below the B, and then this would be a entry to sell. And I like to see a close above the C, entry to buy. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. Same concept, different way of looking at it. Take your pick which one you like the better, entry to buy. So here, and this is basically my box. Well, here right now with this 5-minute candle, we got the close below the B. Everything's looking to go short. So we're going to play this thing out. So right now we have still have the main wedge, the close below the B, and we're going to put our stop somewhere up around probably by just a little bit above where the alert is by the yellow line. And that should give us a pretty close, we'll see what kind of range that gives us here. Visual stop. And that's at 82. The entry is at 72. That's your 10 pip stop. That's pretty close. It gives you a little bit of a buffer off the yellow line. Let's take it down lower. Here we go. We're on our way. Down, down, down. You probably got we're at, the entry was at 72. We're already at 63. There's our 7 pips right there. If you're up at 4:45 in the morning. Okay, so now we have a little bit of a, so right now this is the main wedge. We'll thicken this thing up a little bit. And now it's coming up to retest where the entry was. You already got your daily bid right off of that move right now. It's still following the yellow line, pretty much like it was doing all the way up along here. Well, that was wicking up, but still following the 62. Keep on going. Now it's coming up to retest the area. So at this case, you can do, what I'll do is nice move down, made a lower low. Here's a high, here's a low, made a lower low. I'm going to move this, I'm going to keep this, but I'm going to move the B down. I'll keep this over to where the B was, which is right about in there. Top of the wedge hasn't changed yet, other than the fact I can just keep on sliding this thing on down. Here's a low, here's a little bit of a higher low. I'm just going to hold that. And we're going to just kind of align that right here. Now we don't know how high this is going to go, but right now it looks like it's challenging the 62. So I can take my D and I can just pull it. Well, no, here's where my secondary wedge will start coming in. Strong move down. You see where the alert was, and we can draw our secondary wedge off this blue candle. To the B. We don't know where this is going to end up, so we just have to keep that one flexible. I'll just take it on up here for right now, and I'm going to make it so that it wedges to the upside. I'm going to change this color a little bit. And I'm going to slide this over just a little bit more And I'm be looking now, I'm going to be looking at another entry to go short. Let's see, another entry, I guess I should say. We're going to look for an area to enter to sell, which should be right here at the B. Here was the first one. I'm going to move this one up to where the A was. And we'll see if this, because this could be another zone where it's going to go, but we still have the main wedge coming in. Let me throw this one off so we don't see that. Here we go. Continue on. Coming up, starting to test the 62, starting to test the top of the wedge. Right now, this is our third hit. If you see from the A to C, remember I was saying we're looking for that third hit. Here's our third hit right here. So now I can move this down. Here's our anchor, our intermediate hit. And now the third hit. Now the question is, which way is it going to go? If this holds, probably going to go back lower. Let's see what happens here. We're going to put the C. I'm going to put the C right up on top of this C. I'm just going to move this one flat around. Right now, I'm just looking at this triangle right here. If this breaks, I may be looking at this slope going up to the upside. We'll see what happens here. Where's my replay? What happened to my replay? Well, there it is. Okay, third hit held. And right now we're seeing what's, so look at the moving averages right now. And right now we're starting to get across of the 5 and the 13. If we get a break below, there's our break below, we're back in the trade again. Or if we didn't already take our profit. Still holding. Did we get another 7 pips here? I don't know. Let's see. 63 to 52. Yeah, you could have gotten your 7 pips again. Bring this on down. Still coming on down. So we're still making lows, lower highs, lower lows. See what happens now. Let's take this one off. Keep on going. So now we're looking to see, okay, now we're looking to see if it's going to continue. I want to see a break below the B. Bottom of wedge still held. And you can see that this thing is just, the upper one's still holding all the time and it's making new. Now if it makes another low, again, we're looking to see, look over to the left to see where the possible target may be. See if I can get a higher time frame here. Slide this over them to see where it is on like a 4-hour chart. See if we have something to, nothing over all week long. There's nothing is to even look at over here. Let's go to a daily chart. Nothing is going to be this low until all the way back in January. This is really pretty amazing. So let's take a look and see. Here's a daily chart. Here was a start of a move, basing, took off this nice big blue candle over here. Let's just take the wick of that big blue candle and use that for a target zone. See where that puts us. So come over here, come up to the bottom of the wick, up bottom of the base. There's the wick. Let's make a demand zone here. And see where we're at on our 15-minute chart. So right now it's got a little bit of area that's trying to work through. This is a demand zone. It's in the zone right now. Now the question is it going to break through and go further? And remember, we had another little zone. Let me go back over here. This is really where the bottom of the wicks were, right over here. Well, here's the zone. This is the first one right here. But if you look, take your cursor over, you'll see the wick, a wick, a wick, a wick, another wick, another wick. This is really where the bottom of that zone is. We had this strong move up, came back, tested it, and then broke it. This is the whole area where on this daily chart, this was the bottom of where the big move was. And their origin was all the way down here. So let's mark that out. Here's another strong wick. This is pretty much the area right in through here. Origin of the move, came up, took out this red zone, came back down, retested it. Right there. Here's the wicks. Those are significant. All right, so that's what we're looking at to the downside. And that was all the way back in January. Let's go back to our 15-minute, our 5-minute chart. Did I lose my, what happened to my, there they are. Mid, lower, low. Actually, no, we're looking at this right here for the close below. Let's see, can I, why did I, there it is. But where's my diamonds? Or where's my trend lines? I just have to redraw that a little bit. And we have another 20 minutes before the market opens again. So we have this little wedge here. Let me just draw this. High. Low. Right here. Here was the little bit of a wedge. This one may do. Let's just see where this goes. Wish I had my diamond came back and my wedge came back. Okay, here's a new low. Now we have another little wedge forming right in here. Let's just start from this point. As you've already seen what was going on. Start, bottom. We'll see where this thing ends up. Let's take it over here for right now. We have this down here. Where did my D go? Let's try this again. Where is my D going?
Very strange.
That's really strange. Yeah, that is really strange.
Oh, is that it way over there? No.
It must have something to do with the replay.
Oh, possibly, yeah.
All right. Well, I say I lost it when I was showing you these zones, but anyway, you can still see the point. We're having nice little trend down. We're still looking at this for our target. If we're looking for this to still keep us going short. And then we go down, go down, go down. Here's where we start seeing the changeover. And this is where we started seeing on the 1 minute chart. Came back, we crossed over that, and this was right at 8:30 this morning. And you know the history. But that's pretty much how but once you got the alert and you still see the strong trend, just keep on following it down. Just get the lower high, note the lower high. I'm gonna stop the replay here. There they are. Just get here's the alert, high, lower low, lower high, lower low. And then you had the lower high, lower low, but with the divergence. Remember we told you about the divergence. Look for that. Keep an eye on that divergence, especially on the 5 minute time frame. Or 1 minute divergence doesn't mean a lot. The higher the time frame, the more valuable it is. And you would see it even have it on the 15-minute, because here's an 8-minute, 8-period RSI. Here's a low, here's a high, low, lower low, divergence. Once you get the divergence, get the moving average crossover, and then start taking your chance. Because right now, if you can get in here, you might, yeah, you could get stopped out, but you have all this other move to the upside that you can work with. Any other alerts coming in?
I haven't heard of, no.
Nothing at all since 4:45.
No.
So we have about another 20 minutes. Any questions? Any other charts anybody wants to look at? Any charts anybody wants to share?
Well, I have a question, Al. Is
Okay.
it fair to say with this US CAD, since it's now breaking, like the candles are closing higher than the previous high, is it fair to say that there will be opportunities? The expectation is that there are opportunities for long trades on this?
Yeah, I mean, right now, everything on the CAD on the 15-minute chart, you're looking at, we got the blue candle close above this. So right now, if you're looking, it works on the 15-minute as well as it does on the 1-minute, just no matter how much stop do you want to lose and how much target you want to use. I like using the 15-minute for targets and stops, but I like the 1-minute for the entries. So I try and enter on the lower time frame to catch those earlier entries, because by the time you get confirmation on a 15-minute, oftentimes you're already out of the chute. But again, like I said, we had the close above, so we actually had, here was a nice move down. We had the divergence here, and then we had the break. Here's where the moving average is on the 15 cross. We had the green cross and the yellow right off of this candle. And we have here's the red candle adjacent to where that is. And you can see where you had the close above. I like this red candle right here. This one's a little bit, let's see. This one's, I like this series. This is where the series of red candles were. I would like to see the close above, if you're looking at this on a 15-minute chart, I like to see the close above this area right here. This red candle, the top of the red candle, if I can get this thing to draw. The top of this red candle right here.
And what would be the reason for that? Because it doesn't have a wick?
Well, just because one, it doesn't have a wick, but more so is the fact that this is where the green crossed the yellow here.
Okay.
And now we have the red. This was a series, this was the last move down before we started getting blue candle. Well, this one really does, this one closed above this one. This is where the series started.
Okay.
So I'm going to see, and actually, if you could even take a little bit further, take it over this one. Because you have some basing. This was, if you look at this candle right here, let me just move this, let me put this back down. Let me get a yellow line here. This is now we have a little bit of a red wick here, but this big blue candle was somewhat of a engulfing candle. Okay. So that came down, strong rejection, came back, it took this one out. It took this area out, closed. But then this is where the head fake was, right down here. Now we have the moving average crosses. We had this nice little red series. This is 45 minutes worth of red candles, actually 15 minutes. So I'm going to see if it closes above, get a close above this red candle with the crossover of the green and the yellow. And right here, here's a crossover, blue candle, closed above it. Here's the entry. And now the target is, from that entry, the target is now the moving average. If you look at the difference, right now you're looking at from 61 to 79 pips. So if you can get in here, give your 2 pips, you still have room for your target.
Okay.
Now the moving averages are all in the right direction. You just cross, and right now this is where I was expecting to bounce. If this trend is going to continue to the upside, it's got to close above the 62. And it did right here. And this is where the other part of the wedge, where the trend line was from this area to here. Here's the hit. Then we come back Remember, let's talk about the 3 hits on the trend line. Let's see if we can find out where. Let's take it all the way back to here. Here's a trend line. Here's our first hit. Nothing came close to that trend line before this one. So here's the anchor. Here's the middle hit. Here's the third hit, and that's where it was rejected. Now that validates this trend line. Now you have to close above the trend. You have to close above the 62. You've got the close above where the 5 and the 13 crossed. Here's the reference. Here's the close above that. Looking at the close above the red candle, and looking at the close below the blue candles to go short. So you had everything. This was a key candle right here. Broke the trend line, broke the 62, and you have all your moving averages in the right direction. Right now I can see where it could come back. Now being on the 5-minute chart, again, you like to see now we have the 13 and 62 on the 5-minute chart crossing over. This is a strong area. I would put my stop right here, looking for a pullback to tag this, but not break this. This would be my stop reference point.
We actually have an IRIS alert.
Oh,
yes, we have the U.S. Swiss came in at 9:15.
9:15 U.S. Swiss descending. Thank you. Yeah, I need to put my phone back up off silent. Leave it on silent over the nighttime so it doesn't keep waking me up at night. U.S. Swiss. U.S. Swiss descending. 9:15. Let's take a look at it. Let's take a look at the 15-minute chart. We say it's descending, so you can see here's a nice little descending move. Here's a peak, looking for that third hit. Here's the anchor. Oh, crap. There we go. Here's the anchor. Here's the first hit. And I'm just going to keep it just like that. Now, this is not really the wedge. This is the main trend line. We're seeing where this wedge alert, the wedge alert came in at 9:15, which is right now. There's the alert. It said it was descending, so I got a high here, a low, a high, a low, lower high, pretty much an equal low, and it's still a lower high right here. So here's where I'm going to start this wedge. Start up here with this to the low. And if you look and see, this is probably still here. If this were a higher low, it'd be way up in here. So here's where that one is, and then we're going to tuck this in right here. Here's my wedge. Remember, this is just a reference trend line, the orange one right now. I'm going to make this as my higher time frame wedge. And actually, what I'm going to be looking for right now is I'm going to be looking for an intermediate wedge inside inside this area and inside this whole area here. Let's go to my 1-minute chart. Let's go to 5-minute here just to see if we can tweak this a little bit. Tuck that in over here a little bit better. Tuck this over one more. Go to my 1-minute chart. Make sure everything's as tight as I can make it before the alert. And you see a nice big move up. Looking for a wedge up in here to give me some direction of whether it's going to break to the top side or whether it's going to break down to the, if we get a nice wedge and it breaks, got the crossover of the moving averages right now. Our Swiss and the US are fighting for second and third place. We have the crossover here. We have a close below this blue candle. Make this just reference. Let's see. Let's make this just a reference here. Let's try that. There we go. You can see that this was a peak. Here's low. So here's a high. Here's a low. Higher high. And right now we're looking at, is this going to be a lower low based on this area? So I'm going to draw a secondary wedge in here from that high to that low to that high to wherever, see where this thing's going to close out. and then tag this right up to the top of this line. I'm gonna make this one white. Now this one's still, we don't really know where this is gonna end up. So actually I'll just mark it right here. So basically I have a box right now. I have a low and high pivot, and we have price action in between. I'm waiting to see if for a pivot to use this for my second hit. We'll see when this thing gets done. We did have the crossover. We do have the close below. This would be very aggressive to take this thing short right here off the alert. And then you would be using this for a stop. Let's see here, sell stop right there. This would be the entry right off of here, the close below this area, this one. I like this candle because this is a nice big extended candle. Use this as a potential entry to sell. But now you still have from 54 to 48. You have 6 pips. I'd like to be able to see a little bit more. And right now we don't really. We could possibly call this as our second hit. Then we'd be looking at possible to. We had the crossover. This would be. I like that, but we still have a potential bounce off of this. And we also have the hook all the way down. If I'm going to go short, I want to see this little hook down here be at the top, like it was over here. We have divergence on the 1 minute. We have divergence. Here's the top. Here's a higher top. Here's the top. Here's the lower top. We have divergence here on the 1 minute. But I would like to see a little bit more clarity with this. Here's my AC. Okay, I can move this the C over here. Still a flat top here with the D, B, and D. I'm still looking to see where I can get a lower high. Right now we have a high, a low. We have a higher low. Now I'm looking for the lower high somewhere in here, someplace. If we can get a lower high and have everything moving in the, right now everything's still trending in the upward. This is a strong move up. This is just a pullback. Right now, I'd be saying this thing's looking to maybe this be a good area to possibly, I'm looking for the moving averages on this one to cross back over to get the green crossing the yellow. We have, this is support right here. That's support. If I can get the yellow to cross, the green to cross the yellow up here, then I'm going to be looking more of this being a area to above the, let's see, spread this out a little bit. This red candle there. So right now we're looking at a little bit of a zone. This would be entry to buy. And we've got the entry to sell be down here. And right now we're not in anything yet. Entry to sell. Here's our zone right now. This is our playground right now. Here's where we're trying to make our decision. The moving average, we have the strong move up, crossover. Right now, it's made a little bit lower high, right there. I'm just going to align the C and D together. I like to see a little bit more of a test of this area right in here. Again, strength. I'd be more apt to take this thing long than short. Let's see if I can get another. Let's see, US, Swiss. Check my other chart. We have about 5 more minutes on this before the US market opens. And that will probably drive this thing in one direction or the other. Right now I'm looking at this thing's probably going to go, based on some of my other indicators, I would be looking at this thing to go short. Right now I'm kind of liking this area right in here. crossover. Now, right now, if you look at this green 5 period, we have a nice blue wick up, couldn't hold it. If you look at the bodies, you're getting lower closes. If this thing breaks the bottom of here, I'd say it's going to go short. Here's a hook. I want to see a close below here, and then your next stop. All these candles right here, all straight. Nothing really to stop it till it gets down here. There's hardly any wicks along any of this. Let me take this one short. And see if we get the close below. Anchor, hit, close below. Let's see if we get the close below. Your stop would be up here somewhere, right about in this area. Keep it above the top wick. I want to see a close here. And we still have 3 minutes before the market. Did not get the close. Again, looking for my middle hit on this. Right now, I could be using this, I suppose. If I get a close above this part, then I'll be using this area right here. But right now, it seems to be trending stronger. Look at the angle of this, trending stronger to the downside. We had the pullback, the green never crossed the yellow. And about when the market opens, I think this thing could very well it's either going to head fake us to the downside or it's going to just tank to the downside. Either way, I think you could probably get 7 pips or 5 pips out of it. But let's wait till this candle closes, or at least a minute before. We'll see what happens here. It may start happening a minute before. Here's, I said we're on a 1 minute chart, so we have it's very tight right now. See how the moving averages are all starting to bundle together here. Still like there's a lot of wicks in here. I'm going to still keep this above this area. Because if it breaks here, we're still within our 7 pip range. Plus you have the 62 down here to help protect you a little bit. But I'm thinking it's going to break to the downside. Dollar is still strong on all 3 time frames. You have a 4-0 spread. You have 4 spread on the 15. You have a 3 spread on the 5 and a 3 spread on the 1 minute. That gives us strength to the downside for the US dollar. Excuse me, that would be strength to the Swiss. That would be strength to the upside. So we'd be looking to go long on this. See if we can get a close above. Here's the blue candle I'm using for a reference to the upside. To get a close above that, it's right by where the D is. And from here to 55 to straight above, it's 55 to 63, 8 pips to the upside to the wedge. And there's 30. Here's the close. And let's see what happens here. Be careful of this when you have the 62 right here. Market just opened. Starting to take position. I want to see that candle go strong above that D. Little bounce. And I'm going long on this one. You have the cross with green and yellow crossed. Came right up here, didn't really close above the D, but did close above this. And right now looking at seeing if it's going to base or not. We have our C's down here. I'm going to move this one down to see if I get a close below. This would be my stop right now. Then we're going to have to get out of this room. It looks like it's 9:30. Well, here's what we're looking at right now. And we're going to have to close the room down here because someone else is trying to get in. But right now I'm in this thing long. My stop will be down here at the close of the C area. And we'll see what happens. On that note, everybody, thanks for coming in and have a good weekend. We'll see you Monday at 8 o'clock.